Hey guys, this is a demo video for your redraw assignment. It is assigned as of Wednesday, May 6th. It is due in 2 weeks from today for submissions. You will not be doing a presentation or critique about this assignment. You're only going to be submitting your final files. But I wanted to go ahead and get you a jump start on it so that you're not confused as to what needs to be done or expected. First, you must go into the Canvas, school Canvas, click on modules. This is your redraw assignment overview. Under the overview exercise, redraw exercise overview, go ahead and select that. This gives you a step-by-step instructions on how to draw this assignment. The purpose of this assignment is to get you accustomed to using the pen tool. Again, powerful drawing tool in Illustrator. So this helps you create some muscle memories, along also with drawing. Each one of these logos introduces new features of the program that you will be working with. So please, please, please go ahead and follow these instructions to the letter. Make sure that you take care of all this necessary items. Go ahead and click on the redraw exercise PDF file. This is the redraw, this is the fonts. Also, you can download all the items here as well. You have the redraw zip file and the redraw exercise PDF file. So I'm going to go ahead and download the PDF file. So I just click on that and it downloads for me. So I have it now in my downloads folder. So here it is, and then it pops up here. So the instructions that you see going back into your module section here on the redraw overview, it's the exact same information in the in this PDF file, just the exact same thing. You can print this out and have it next to you while you complete this assignment. Again, this is the items that you will be graded on. These are the logos that you will be redrawing in this portion of your assignment. The space between template here, this is when once you get your rough concept set up, this is where you'll be drawing. This is just an example of what it should look like, of your colors. So you will continue drawing it in this space, but just emulate this colors. That is what I am expecting of you. You will redraw the entire typography, the little beetle, as well as all the lines with the text indicating measurements and stuff. So let's go ahead and launch Illustrator. You're going to create a new document by going to File, New. Your page must be 8.5 by 11, portrait with no bleeds, and you will name this your last name _ redraw, and hit create. So the first thing you must do is bring in that JPEG file and convert that to a template by going to File, Place, navigate to where the redraw folder is located. You will download these, you will upload these fonts into your system. You will be using these fonts. These are the fonts that are called out in the redraw assignment. So go ahead and hit place, make sure that is link. You must have this link. Hit place and just place it on the very edge corner. It should fit exactly onto the page. And if it doesn't, then go ahead and hit the align tool. Set your alignments to be on the artboard. Align it in the center. Then you're going to double click on your layers palette and convert that to a template file, dim setting at 75%. And you're going to name that layer template and hit OK. So everything that I've just done in the PDF file document is outlined in this step right here. So we just pretty much did most of this already. Okay. Now it is time, and this here says save your file often, and you're going to name it last name, redraw, and then so on and so forth, and you're going to continue to create these layers. So the next step is to save this document by going to File, Save As. Not just save, but Save As. You're going to give this a name, which I already named it when I open up the document. That does not necessarily mean that it's saved. And this is, you're going to call it inside your redraw into the redraw file folder. And I'm going to hit Save. For those of you working in an older version file, or if you have to change this to a version CS6 or regular legacy or whatever, depending on your clients that you're designing for. But for right now, Illustrator 2020 is going to be suffice. You're going to leave everything here as default. You're going to hit OK to apply, and now your file is saved. Okay. So you are going to create a layer for each one of these logos. So I'm going to create a new layer, and this layer is going to be called Snap. Return to apply, create another layer, and this layer is going to be for the Vesuvio Italian bar. There you go. Another layer is going to be called Bug Size. Enter to apply, and the last layer is going to be called Space Between. So I'm going to demonstrate the Snap logo first. So I'm going to lock everything down except for the Snap layers, because that's where I want all those elements to drop. Again, get accustomed to locking layers that you're not going to be working on so you don't accidentally draw on the incorrect layer. So I'm going to grab my zoom tool, zoom in on this portion here, and I'm going to draw the inside part of this orange and then the outer part of the orange. So I grab my pen tool here. This part of the logos you're going to grab it with your pen tool, and I'm going to start from the very top. And of course, like I always say, I work from left to right. So I'm going to start from this very top. I'm going to do Command plus. I'm going to zoom in with the space bar so I can get into position. For most of you, you can actually go into the Windows menu and grab your navigator, and it'll help you navigate in your document. So I'm zoomed in at 800%. Here's the navigator. I can grab the navigator and navigate around the document in that way. I can also do a zoom in feature, zoom out feature, zoom in feature this way. So it's just a little shortcut. So for right now, I'm just going to stay at 800%, navigate that area around there, or just hit the space bar, Command plus or minus. It depends on how you personally want to work in that aspect. I can do without the navigator. I can work it manually as I see fit. So now I'm going to try and draw the orange portion of this redraw. So I'm going to start from this point. Now I don't necessarily need to create another anchor point here because as you can see, if I stretch over, I know that I can create an anchor handle and create that curve of the tip of that S this way. Now, I currently have a fill of white with a stroke of black. So I'm going to save that to the fill of none. I'll leave it as a stroke of black, but this time I want to go to View, Outline View mode, because I have a template file set up. So now I can still see this in my outline view mode, and I'm only going to focus on my paths. Now notice that once I created that secondary anchor point here, in order to achieve that curve, my anchor handle extended all the way out here just to achieve that one curve. But I need to come back up in this direction, and notice how my anchor, my Bezier curve guide is a little off. So what I can do is I can either click and remove that anchor handle like this, or I'm going to Command Z, edit, undo that, or I can hold down my Option key and get my Convert tool and bring that handle in. So that I can still continue to have a smooth point here, because this point here is kind of curves a little bit. It's not quite a point. So I can click and drag out and to create that other curve. Now in this particular case, as you can see, my anchor handle here is a little bit too far, and I need to create a sharp a sharp left turn. So I don't necessarily need to have that handle. So I can mouse over the anchor point and get my Convert and click on the anchor point itself to remove that handle. And now I have much better control. Spacebar, gets my hand tool, and I believe I can go as far as this area here, click and drag to create that curve. And if it's not perfect, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I can go back later with my direct selection tool and edit all my anchor points and clean up my path. Let's go ahead and do something similar so I can show you how I can edit it later. So I'm going to leave this anchor handle at this length. Technically, I would probably want to grab my convert tool and bring it in some so I can have a better control. But I'm going to leave it like that just so that I can demonstrate how I can go back in and fix things later. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I create a smooth point this way. As I said, this is not ideal. I'll go back and clean it in a bit. And I can continue drawing my path. This one here, this anchor point here is probably going to give me an unwanted result, but I can go back in later and clean up my path. Notice how this is not hugging the color properly, but I can go back in later and clean it. So that's 2 areas that I need to go back and clean. I just want to focus on creating my shape right now. Again, I can go back later with my indirect selection tool. I'm going to remove this anchor handle because I'm creating a sharper turn. So this one does come to a point, so I know that I can grab my anchor handles and get it pretty close. Now this one's going to come back around, back to the top, so I don't need this anchor handle, so I will remove it and create a cusp anchor point. So this is pretty much a straight line, and this one has a small little curve here. When you're drawing resolution dependent artwork and it's highly pixelated, you just do the best you can when you get into close to these pixels. I just try to visualize a line where all these pixels meet and get it as close as possible. Now, when you're doing this assignment, you do not want to draw outside the lines or too far inside the lines. You want to draw it exactly as you see it, because in doing so, you will ensure that the company's logo does not change. You don't want to change the artwork. You're just literally tracing it. So you need to keep that in mind when you're doing logos, creating company logos or redrawing company logos. It surprises me how many designers design logos in Photoshop. It just baffles me. All logos should be in vector format in my personal and professional opinion. Should never design a logo in Photoshop. That's just dumb. Because it must be in vector format if you want to, for example, cut vinyl or, well, it's just in general. All right, so I completed my path. Now I need to go back with my indirect selection tool and clean up the areas that I see is questionable. Obviously, I'm not close here, so I'm going to activate that anchor point. I'll use the Shift-C gives me a shortcut for my convert tools. Here's the shortcut, Shift-C. So Shift-C allows me to convert, to use this smooth point as if it was a cusp, meaning that I can manipulate this anchor handle without having to manipulate the opposite side. So let me edit, undo that so I can show you what I mean. So this is a smooth point, as you can see here. Independent handle. So edit, undo that. One more time. This is a smooth point. That anchor point that is highlighted, that is selected, it's a smooth point, as you can see. Edit, undo that. So if I was to move this anchor handle without using the convert tool, and I try to edit this, I'm also taking the chance of it distorting the opposite side. This is not what I want. So edit, undo. So instead, I don't want to convert this to a cusp. I just want to convert this part of this path, just to manipulate this part of this path. With that, I use the anchor point convert tool. So I use Shift-C to activate it, which is the keyboard shortcut. And now it allows me to treat the smooth point as if it was a cusp. So now I can manipulate this part of the path without having to change the opposite side. It's pretty cool. So there we go. Now I can see that I'm a little off over here. If I need at any given point to add any additional anchor points, I do so with the Add Anchor Point tool. So let me go ahead and tear this off, that way I don't have to keep going inside of it. So I'll use my Add Anchor Point, and I can add another point here, grab my Indirect Selection tool, and move that path a little up. If it's too much, I can just zoom in so I can see better. And I believe that I'm a little closer, like right around in there. No, it didn't quite. Sometimes you have the snap to point selected. That could be problematic, so uncheck that so it doesn't snap. So now this should work perfectly. And by doing so, I manipulate that path a little bit so I can go back here and clean that up as well. Now I can zoom out by Command negative. And I can see here that I'm a little off in this part as well. So with my A, by the way, A grabs your indirect selection tool. V is your regular selection tool. So I click on A on the keyboard and I activate my indirect selection tool. I can move this over a little bit and I can clean this path a little bit better. And same thing over here. There. Command Shift C, my convert tool, and clean that up a little bit more. There we go. Zoom out. And let's go to View Preview Mode. And here are your results. You can color it any color that you like. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a color of, in my swatches palette, I'll give it a color of orange because that's kind of like where it started. So that is the inside part. And you can toggle between outline view mode and preview mode, Command Y. And you can see that you're pretty close. Zoom in. Pretty close to your original art files. I see that I'm a little off in this portion right over here. Command Y. And I can just go back in, zoom out, zoom in, excuse me. Yep, got a little trigger happy here. Oh, sorry about that, guys. A little trigger happy there. Zoom out. Actually, it's not that bad, so I'm happy with that. It looks pretty good. But I think that this curve here can be fixed a little bit better. Get that a little cleaner. Zoom in on that. And Shift C gets my convert tool and clean up that curve. Zoom out. View the results. Okay. Sorry about my phone, guys. Forgot to turn it on silent. I don't want to start and re-record everything I just said. All right. So that looks really cool. For the snap part of the text, you would have to download that text. And I believe in your PDF document here, it talks about, so we pretty much did this portion or so. Okay. And you may continue doing the rest. If you have any questions, please post it on the Redraw discussion boards, which will be located, the link will be located in the discussions tabs. And happy drawing.